You gave her your time, your energy, and your attention. You showed up, you cared, and you invested in her. But in the end, she still chose another man. That kind of rejection stings, no doubt about it. It feels like a punch to the gut, like everything you did suddenly meant nothing. But here's the hard truth. If she could walk away so easily, she was never really yours to begin with. And that realization? That's your freedom. The moment you stop fighting for someone who doesn't value you, that's when you reclaim your power. That's when you start winning. Because while she's busy entertaining someone else, you now have the opportunity to do something far greater. Turn your pain into purpose. Let's talk about why letting her go is the best move you'll ever make. Number 1, you just got your power back. Right now, it might feel like you've lost something valuable. But think about it differently. You've just been given something priceless: your time, your energy, and your freedom. No more waiting around for her texts. No more questioning where you stand. No more bending over backward to make things work with someone who isn't choosing you. When she chooses another man, let her go. Not out of anger, not out of bitterness, but because you respect yourself too much to hold on to someone who doesn't see your value. A man grounded in his worth doesn't beg to be chosen. He simply walks away, knowing that his presence is a privilege, not a convenience. This is your moment to shift your focus from her back to you. It's easy to fall into the trap of wondering what he has that you don't, but that's wasted energy. The Stoics teach us that we suffer more in our imagination than in reality. The pain you feel now isn't because she left. It's because of the meaning you've attached to it. You think you lost, but in truth, you've won. You've won clarity. You've won self-respect. You've won the chance to build something greater without the distraction of someone who doesn't see your worth. Imagine 2 men. One sees his woman leave for another, and he collapses into self-doubt, drowning in what-ifs. The other? He acknowledges the sting, but refuses to let it define him. He sees it as a redirection, a sign that his energy is better spent elsewhere, on his goals, his purpose, his future. Which man do you think becomes stronger? Which one becomes more attractive, not just to women, but to life itself? A man who knows his worth never clings to a situation where he isn't valued. He doesn't waste his time convincing someone to appreciate him. He simply steps back and invests that energy into himself, his health, his mindset, his mission. That's where true power lies. Not in chasing what is lost, but in elevating himself so high that losing him becomes their regret. So let her make her choice. And while she's busy discovering whether the grass is greener elsewhere, you'll be too busy building a life so rich and fulfilling that you won't even look back. That's when you truly win. Number 2, feel it, but don't drown in it. Let's be honest. You're going to feel something. No matter how tough you are, rejection hurts. Maybe you're angry. Maybe you're disappointed. Maybe you're thinking about everything you did for her, only for her to walk away like it was nothing. It's okay to feel all of that. But here's where most men mess up. They let those emotions consume them. They let the sting of rejection define their worth, as if her choice is a judgment of their value. But here's the truth. When she chooses another man, that's when you win. Think about it. Do you really want a woman who doesn't recognize your value? A woman who hesitates, wavers, or thinks there's something better out there? The moment she walks away, she's giving you a gift: clarity. She's showing you that she wasn't the right woman for you, no matter how much you might have convinced yourself otherwise. A Stoic man doesn't chase what isn't his, nor does he beg for someone's love. Instead, he understands that rejection isn't a loss. It's a revelation. A Stoic man doesn't run from his emotions, but he doesn't let them dictate his actions either. He sits with them, acknowledges them, and then lets them pass. He understands that feelings are temporary, but the decisions he makes in this moment will define his future. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." She made her choice. Now, it's time for you to make yours. Will you let this break you, or will you use it to build yourself into something greater? Instead of letting the pain drag you down, use it as fuel. Every great man in history has turned adversity into strength. Think of Michael Jordan being cut from his high school basketball team. He didn't sulk, he trained harder. Think of Steve Jobs getting fired from his own company. He came back stronger and revolutionized the industry. You are no different. You have the choice to turn this moment into something powerful. Let her believe she's found something better. Meanwhile, you become better. You level up in every way, physically, mentally, financially. You sharpen your mind, build your empire, and watch as life starts to work in your favor. And then, one day, when she looks back, she'll realize that the man she left behind didn't just move on. He elevated beyond anything she ever imagined. Now, take a moment to reflect on this. Have you ever let rejection define your worth? Or have you used it as fuel to become something greater? Growth happens in the moments when we choose discipline over despair, purpose over pain. Share your thoughts in the comments. How have you turned setbacks into strength? Or if you're on this journey of self-improvement, just drop "I choose to elevate" in the comments. Let's build each other up. Number 3. Silence says everything. A lot of men feel the need to get closure. They think if they send that one last message, if they say that one perfect thing, they'll somehow flip the situation in their favor. But the truth is, the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence is the ultimate statement. It communicates confidence, self-respect, and emotional control. When you walk away without begging, without arguing, without explaining, you send a clear message. I am not a man who fights for someone who doesn't want me. And that, right there, is when you win. You see, when she chooses another man, your ego might take a hit at first. It's natural. You might feel replaced, like you weren't good enough, like you lost. But let's reframe that. What did you really lose? A woman who didn't value you enough to choose you. A situation where you would have had to prove your worth to someone who didn't recognize it on their own. That's not a loss. That's liberation. The Stoics teach us that suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about them. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." If you see her choosing another man as rejection, as a personal failure, then you suffer. But if you see it for what it is, a moment of clarity, a redirection towards something better, then you find peace. You realize that you were never competing for her. You were only competing against your own attachment. And here's the part nobody tells you. She will notice. When you don't chase, when you don't react, when you don't play the game, she will feel that absence. Women are used to men trying to win them back, proving themselves, convincing them to reconsider. But when you do none of that, when you simply remove yourself from the equation, she will question her decision. Because now, instead of seeing you as just another guy who wants her, she sees you as the man who values himself more than he values her validation. That kind of quiet strength is rare, it's powerful, and it shifts the dynamic entirely. So don't waste your time mourning someone who made a choice that revealed their priorities. Instead, make your own choice, one that serves you. Walk away, not in anger, not in spite, but in unwavering self-respect. Because the moment you do, you stop being the man who lost her, and you become the man she lost. Number 4. You're the prize, not an option. One of the biggest mindset shifts you need to make is understanding that you are the prize. Too many men act like they need to compete for a woman's attention, like they need to prove themselves worthy of being chosen. But think about it. Do the most successful, attractive, high-value men in the world beg for attention? Do they fight for people who don't see their worth? Absolutely not. When a woman chooses another man, your first instinct might be to feel rejected, like you lost something. But here's the truth. You didn't lose. You won. You were just spared from investing your time, energy, and emotions into someone who didn't fully appreciate your value. And if she couldn't see what you bring to the table, that's her loss, not yours. A man who truly understands his worth doesn't chase after someone who willingly walks away. He accepts reality with grace, just as the Stoics teach, knowing that some things are outside of his control. And what is outside of your control is never worth suffering over. Imagine this. You're standing at the door of a grand palace, offering someone entry into a life of strength, stability, and purpose. If she turns away and chooses another path, do you beg her to stay? Or do you simply close the door, knowing that only those who truly see your worth deserve entry? This is how a man of value operates. He remains calm and unfazed, knowing that his self-worth is not tied to another person's choices. Women are drawn to men who don't flinch in the face of rejection. It's because confidence isn't about being chosen. It's about knowing that whether someone chooses you or not, you remain the same, solid, unshaken force. That's why, when she chooses someone else, you actually win. You're free from someone who didn't fully appreciate you, and now you have the space to attract a woman who does. Remember, Seneca said, "A gem can't be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This moment isn't a loss. It's a test of your strength, your composure, and your self-respect. Do you let this shake you? Or do you use it as fuel to refine yourself, to become even more unshakable? A high-value man doesn't break when things don't go his way. He adapts, he grows, and he moves forward with purpose. This is your moment to reclaim your power. When she chooses another man, don't flinch. Don't question yourself. Walk away with the certainty of a man who knows his worth, because you are the prize. Now, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever found yourself chasing someone who didn't truly see your value? How did it feel when you finally realized you deserved better? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your perspective. Or, if this message resonated with you, just type "I am the prize" in the comments to claim your worth. Let's keep the conversation going. Number 5. No what-ifs. Keep moving. After a breakup, your mind will play tricks on you. It will keep asking, what if I had done something differently? What if I had just tried harder? What if she realizes she made a mistake? Stop. Overthinking won't change the past. She made a decision, and you need to accept it. A Stoic man doesn't waste time rewriting history. He moves forward. He doesn't cling to what could have been. He focuses on what's next. It may not feel that way at first. Your ego takes a hit. Your mind races, wondering what he has that you don't. But the reality? You just got clarity. You just got rid of someone who didn't see your value. That's a victory, not a loss. Seneca once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This is your friction. This is your moment of refinement. Think of it this way. Imagine you were investing in a company, but after a while, the company starts making reckless decisions. The leadership isn't aligned with your values. Would you keep throwing your money into it, hoping it changes? Number A. Rational investor cuts his losses and moves his capital elsewhere. That's exactly what's happening here. She made a choice. She walked away. Now you get to reinvest your energy, your time, and your love into something, or someone, who actually values it. There's power in silence. There's strength in indifference. When you don't chase, when you don't beg, you communicate something powerful. I am whole without you. I do not need your validation to know my worth. And that, my friend, is when you win. Because while she's off seeing if the grass is greener elsewhere, you're building yourself into a man who doesn't look back. You'll see it eventually, maybe weeks from now, maybe months. But one day, she'll remember you. She'll wonder why you didn't break. She'll wonder why you didn't fight for her. And that's when she'll realize she didn't choose better. She chose different. Meanwhile, you leveled up. You didn't just survive, you thrived. Number 6. Become the man she can't have back. Here's the secret. The best revenge isn't making her jealous. It isn't showing her you've moved on faster than she did. It's becoming someone she can't get back. Not because you're playing some mind game, not because you want her to regret it, but because you've evolved into a man who is too focused on his own growth to even care. The moment she chooses another man, you might feel that sting of rejection. But that's the exact moment you win, if you understand what truly matters. See, most men let rejection break them. They dwell on it, overanalyze it, and let their emotions spiral out of control. But the Stoics taught us something crucial. Control what you can. Accept what you can't. And one thing you can always control: who you become next. The gym, your career, your mindset. These aren't just distractions. They are the foundation of the new you. Every rep in the gym isn't just about looking better, it's a testament to your discipline. Every hour spent sharpening your skills, building your empire, and expanding your mind is proof that your value isn't determined by whether a woman chooses you or not. When you step into your power and embrace the path of self-improvement, you realize she didn't reject you. She freed you. She gave you the space to step into the man you were meant to be. And here's what always happens. When you genuinely move on, when you stop caring, when you become better than you were before, that's when she starts to notice. It's almost inevitable. Suddenly, the man she overlooked has become someone she never thought you'd become. The silent strength, the unshakable presence, the calm confidence. It draws her in like a magnet. Maybe she reaches out. Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she starts watching your stories, asking mutual friends about you, or reminiscing about the good times. But by then, something inside you has shifted. The past no longer holds you hostage. When she chooses another man, you might be tempted to let that define you. But why? Her choice is hers. Your power lies in your response. You either stay stuck in the past, begging for something that no longer serves you, or you let it fuel your rise. And that's when you win. Not because she regrets it, not because she suddenly sees your worth, but because you don't need her to. You've already built something greater, yourself, and that is something no one can take from you. If you've made it this far, take a moment to reflect, because this is where real transformation begins. Have you ever found yourself stuck in the past, waiting for someone to validate your worth? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. If this message resonated with you, let me know by commenting. Growth over regret. Let's keep this conversation going. Your next level starts now. Number 7. Time will work in your favor. At first, it might seem like she doesn't care that you walked away. But give it time. As long as you stay focused on yourself and avoid any desperate moves, something shifts. The less attention you give her, the more she starts wondering why. And this is where patience is key. The men who react emotionally, who chase, who try to prove their worth, those are the ones who lose. The Stoic man, however, waits. He lets time reveal the truth. And in most cases, it does. A man who respects himself doesn't beg for attention. He doesn't fall apart just because a woman decided to walk a different path. He understands that attraction isn't something you convince someone of. It's either there or it isn't. And if she was willing to choose another man, then she was never fully convinced in the first place. You dodged a bullet. Think of it like this. Imagine a king on his throne. Does he chase after a subject who decides to leave his kingdom? Does he stand up and beg them to return? No. He remains seated, knowing his worth, knowing that others will come, knowing that what is meant for him will find its way. He doesn't panic. He doesn't lower himself. He moves forward with strength and dignity. That's the mindset you need to embrace. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, let people think whatever they want. Let her believe she's found something better. Let her assume you'll be heartbroken. None of that is within your control. What is in your control? Your reaction, your discipline, your ability to walk away with grace and focus on becoming the man you were meant to be. The moment she realizes you're not chasing, that's when the doubt creeps in. She starts questioning if she made the right choice. Why? Because women are drawn to certainty, to a man who stands firm in himself. And nothing is more attractive than a man who doesn't waver, a man who keeps moving forward no matter what. At first, she might feel excited about her choice, caught up in the thrill of something new. But that's temporary. When the excitement fades and reality sets in, she'll start comparing. She'll remember how you carried yourself, how you didn't grovel, how you simply let her go. And that's when the weight of her decision starts to sink in. She'll see the difference between a man who holds his own and a man who needed her validation to feel like somebody. And by then, you won't even care, because you'll be too busy leveling up, embracing the power of indifference, and realizing that when a woman chooses another man, she's actually doing you a favor. She's clearing the path for the right person to step in, someone who sees you for who you are, without the games, without the need for validation. Number 8. Indifference is the real flex. Women expect a reaction. They expect you to be hurt, to try to win them back, to show them they still have power over you. But what happens when you give them nothing? That's when the real power shift happens. When you truly stop caring, when you're not pretending but genuinely indifferent. That's when she starts to second-guess everything. She chose another man? Good. That means you just dodged a bullet. You don't chase after someone who willingly walks away. A king does not beg to keep someone in his castle. He lets them leave, knowing that his value is not diminished by their absence. Most men react emotionally when a woman leaves. They plead, they negotiate, they try to prove their worth, as if their value depends on whether or not she stays. But this is the wrong mindset. A woman's decision to walk away does not define you. If she chooses another man, she is exercising her freedom. And so should you. Walk away without bitterness. Let her make her choice, and make yours too, by focusing on yourself and your purpose, not on chasing someone who doesn't see your value. The truth is, a man who is in control of his emotions is a man who cannot be controlled. The moment you detach from the outcome, you win. Think about it. Why do you think women are drawn to men who are unbothered? Because emotional self-control is a sign of strength. The Stoics taught that we should not be disturbed by external events, but only by our judgments of them. A rejection is not a loss. It is merely a redirection towards something better. You weren't rejected. You were freed from someone who was never meant for you. Imagine a warrior in battle. He does not waste his energy mourning a fallen comrade in the heat of war. He moves forward, focused, because survival and victory require discipline, not distraction. This is how you must approach life. A woman choosing another man is nothing more than an event. You decide what meaning to attach to it. You can see it as a tragedy, or you can see it as a necessary step towards something greater. Let's put it this way. If a woman chooses another man, she's showing you exactly where her priorities lie. And if her priorities don't align with yours, why would you waste another second feeling bad about it? A man who knows his worth does not mourn what was never truly his. He stands firm, knowing that life continues, and that what is meant for him will never require him to beg or suffer. And here's the kicker. When you move on without bitterness, when you carry yourself with the quiet confidence of a man who is perfectly fine without her, that's when she starts to wonder if she made a mistake. That's when she realizes she never really had power over you to begin with. Women don't regret leaving men who cry for them. They regret leaving men who become even greater after they're gone. Number 9. She's just a chapter, not your story. This woman, this situation, it's just a chapter in your life. And no matter how much it hurts right now, your book is still being written. The best part? You get to decide how the next chapter goes. And if you play it right, this moment of loss will be the very thing that pushes you toward something greater. Right now, it might feel like you've lost, like you weren't enough, like she saw something in another man that you didn't have. But here's the reality. When she chooses someone else, that's when you win. Because what she's really doing is giving you clarity. She's revealing her true nature, showing you that she wasn't the one who was meant to walk beside you. A Stoic man doesn't chase what is not his to keep. He doesn't beg for someone's affection or try to convince them of his worth. He knows his value is not determined by external validation, but by how he carries himself in the face of adversity. Think about Marcus Aurelius. He ruled an empire, faced betrayals, dealt with war, and yet he never let external circumstances shake his inner foundation. He understood that some things are simply out of our control. And this is one of those things. The woman who leaves, who chooses another, is making a decision based on her own desires, her own perspective. That's her journey. But your journey? It's about rising above, about sharpening your focus, about becoming the man who doesn't need to be chosen. because he chooses himself. Look at it this way. Have you ever noticed how the moment you stop seeking approval, the moment you truly detach, is the moment people start noticing you? That's because confidence isn't built on being wanted. It's built on being unshaken by who stays or who goes. So, let her go. Let her walk her path. Because in doing so, she's unknowingly pushing you toward a version of yourself that is stronger, wiser, and more disciplined. The pain you feel now, that's just the fire refining you. The doubt, that's just the resistance that precedes growth. You don't lose when she chooses another man. You win. Because now, you are free. Free to elevate, to refocus, and to build a life so great that one day you'll look back and realize her leaving was the best thing that ever happened to you. Number 10. Winning by letting go. The real victory isn't getting her back. It's realizing you never needed her in the first place. I know it stings when she chooses another man. It feels like rejection, like a blow to your ego, like proof that you weren't enough. But let me tell you something. This is actually the moment you win. Not because you were competing with him, but because you just got handed the perfect opportunity to level up. A woman walking away, choosing another man, isn't the loss you think it is. It's clarity. It's the universe showing you exactly who is meant to be in your life and who isn't. And if she was able to leave that easily, she was never truly yours to begin with. Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." If you let this situation break you, it's not because of her choice, it's because of how you choose to see it. Think about it. How many times have you seen a man chase after a woman who left, desperately trying to prove his worth, trying to get her to see his value? And what happens? He loses himself. His energy becomes desperate. He becomes a man who clings instead of a man who attracts. But the man who accepts reality, who stands firm in his self-respect, who walks away with his head high, that's the man who truly wins. You invest months, maybe years, into a relationship, thinking she's the one. And then one day, she leaves. Maybe she finds someone else. Maybe she says she's outgrown the relationship. Maybe she just stops feeling the same way. You could waste your energy asking why. You could replay every moment in your mind, trying to see where you went wrong. Or you could take a step back and realize, this is your moment of freedom. You don't need to chase. You don't need to convince her of anything. She made her choice, and now you make yours. You choose to redirect your energy. Instead of fighting to win her back, you focus on becoming the best version of yourself. You build yourself into a man who doesn't just recover from loss. He thrives because of it. And when you do that, something incredible happens. Suddenly, you're not bitter. You're not trapped in a cycle of what-ifs. You're moving forward. And that energy, that strength, that's what makes you truly attractive. Not just to women, but to life itself. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Her leaving isn't what defines you. Your response does. And when you choose to respond with calm, with strength, with purpose, you don't just win. You become unstoppable. So, let her go. Let her run to the next man. You're not losing anything. You're gaining everything. Because the moment she chose another man was the moment you got the chance to finally choose yourself. And that, my friend, is the ultimate victory. And there it is. The moment she walked away was actually the moment you won. Not because you played some game, not because you got even, but because you refused to lose yourself chasing someone who didn't see your value. This isn't about her anymore. It's about you. The way you handle this moment will shape who you become next. Will you sink into self-doubt, or will you rise with quiet strength, knowing that what's truly meant for you will never require you to beg? This is your chance to turn pain into power, to build yourself into the kind of man who doesn't just move on. He levels up so high that looking back becomes irrelevant. Because when you truly embrace your worth, when you stop chasing and start thriving, that's when life starts working in your favor.